and welcome back to my channel. I am Jen and my channel is One Girl Creates, and today I thought I would do a little sew along with you. So the other day I mentioned in my Friday sews that I made a Tabitha T-shirt dress, Tilly and the Buttons Tabitha T-shirt dress, but I did it with a difference. I didn't follow the pattern in the book where you just add on a straight skirt. I actually added a tiered skirt onto the dress because I don't particularly like wearing something that goes straight down. My stomach at the moment is, you know, it feels really big, so I try and hide it a bit more. I got this fabric ages ago and I saw this the other day and I thought to myself, actually that would make a lovely dress. So this fabric is a I think it must be a cotton jersey. It's an Okotex one. It was from Rainbow Fabrics. Let's see if you can see it properly. So it's a lovely navy background with pink and brown animal print on it, with little pink spots over it as well. So I thought that would make a lovely dress. I've got 2 meters of the fabric, which should be more than enough. I've got my pattern cut out that I've had and used many times before, which you would have seen on the channel. And I'm going to take you through how I make this pattern into a dress. Okay, so I've got my fabric here and ready. My pattern is here as well, and I'm ready to show you what I do. So I've changed the camera angle so you can see what is on the table, and I'm going to obviously just lay my fabric out. There we go. And if you hear funny noises in the background, it's the dogs having a little play. So I'm going to lay the fabric out and I will cut out first of all the top pieces. So if I get those out of my pack, I've got one top piece there and the other top piece there. Okay, you can see I only did that the other day. So I have the 2 top pieces. Let's see if I can just cut this fabric down a little bit because it's quite big at the moment and I'd rather not have that much on the table. Okay, so now, so the other day, as I said to you in my video, I made it too long. And I needed to make it actually around about the waist point on the pattern. So if you can see, that's the waist point going in there. So I've just done it about 1 inch below the waistline so that I've got enough room for a little bit of seam allowance, and it will just be just on the waistline. It won't be too high. Won't be too high, sorry, or too low, sorry. And then same thing again. So I'm going to take off the same amount this time. So I'm going to, sorry about all the crinkling. I'm going to move the pattern pieces against it. I know it needs to go, yeah. I've just done a little crease line with my fingernail. I know that's where it needs to go. Okay, and that should be, hopefully, yep, just below the waistline. So that's good. Right, so we've got a piece there, and we have a piece there. Okay, and I'm just going to trim that fabric off so that I can just fold it over and show you what I'm doing. So let's just take that over there. Now, obviously, if I was worried about having enough fabric, then I might have been a bit more careful and knowing that I've got to get the sleeves and the skirt and everything else on. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. I've got more than enough to make a skirt out of this and add the sleeves as well. So that's fine. Okay, so what we need to do is fold the fabric in on itself so that we have 2 folds for the fabric. And obviously I want to make sure that I am going straight in line with the selvage. which obviously can be a bit difficult sometimes, but where I had this folded exactly on the centre point, I've got a nice crease line down the middle, so I know that this will be even once I lay it out. Okay, so there we go. That is one crumpled piece. There we go, get in there. I mean, it's beautiful soft fabric. It may even be a viscose, you know. It feels very soft, very viscosy. But there we go. Right. God, it's just not as easy, is it, to get jersey to lay flat. There we go. Right. Okay. Be a bit careful not to distort the fabric. Right, there we go, that's better. She says, it's creasing. There we go. Right, so that is piece on side one. And then we just need to do the second side. There we go. So, as you would normally, I'm going to put the pattern piece on the fabric, just making sure that both sides are meeting the required length. Oh, that was a bit shorter than I wanted it to be. Right, okay, sorry, had it on the wrong fold. And then what I need to make sure is that I am not going to cut the pattern where it overlaps here. So all I'm going to do is just fold it in on itself so that it's out of the way. And then I've got a straight line. You've got the middle bits lining up with one another. And there we go. So we can pin that. Now, I don't use pattern weights. I've never really, I don't know why, I've never really got on with them, but I do pin them. So, and then I can use my rotary cutter then to cut it. But yeah, there we go. So just pin that down there. So I will fast forward this bit while I am sticking the back piece on, and then I'll come back to you when I'm doing the front. Okay, so I am back. So now we've got to put the front side on the piece of paper, on the fabric, sorry, and just need to make sure I've got everything fitting on there. It's a bit smaller than I planned, so it's gone a bit awry. There we go. Right, so we're just going to line up the edges, and again we've done the same thing. So we've got the pattern piece is folded up, and we're going to make sure that the edge of the pattern is not going to be in the way when we're cutting. So I'm going to fold it in on that corner so that it's out of the way. Okay. And then I'm going to place this pattern piece just like I did the back. Now you will notice, or you may notice as well, that I've lowered the front neckline on this t-shirt. I don't like a high neck. I'm quite a busty girl, and high necks don't generally flatter a bigger bust. So I lower the neck on my t-shirts most of the time. Doesn't matter what pattern I do, I normally will lower the neckline. So that I'm not, it doesn't make me look like I've got a massive shelf. So yeah, so I've lowered that, and I've permanently lowered that. But it's not, I won't ever make a t-shirt with it that at the original height. So all I did was just move it down about 1.5 inches, put on a like a mock-up, and then lower it down. I think it was about 1.5 inches I've lowered it down so that I know it's at the comfortable height. I'm not going to expose myself, but it's also not up high either. And so all I'm doing now is just pinning again. So I will put you on fast forward. Okay, so as you will have seen from the video, I also cut the pattern pieces out for the top, front and back. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the skirt pieces. Now, last time I did two ruffles, shall we say, and they were approximately, oh, hang on, I have the dress here. They were, no approximate about it, they were 12 inches long. And I will probably do the same thing again, because actually that is just the right sort of length for me, and it fits perfectly. So I'm going to cut out three strips 12 inches long, and then we'll go from there. We may make those strips a bit shorter. It depends on how wide the fabric is, because obviously that fabric may have been a different width. So there we go. So the first thing I'm doing is just neatening off the edge, making sure that it is straight. Obviously we want our fabric strips to be straight, we don't want them to be funny wobbly edge. So these are now mostly straight. There's just a little bit here that needs trimming off as well. Okay, so they're now straight. So what I need to do now is just to make sure that I have got a straight line going across the fabric at 12 inches. So obviously I've got my 12-inch marker on my mat, and I'm going to use my ruler on the mat so that I know that it's straight, and do a cut across there. Okay, so that should be straight. That's good. And then I've got this mark here and my 12-inch mark there. And I know then that I'm going to be in a reasonably straight line. Okay, so that is tier number 1. And then I just need to repeat the process 2 more times. Okay. The reason obviously that I'm doing 3 pieces of fabric, not 2, is that each tier will get wider. So you have to make sure you've got enough fabric. So while this fabric will go around my hips like on one piece, then it's not actually that much wider. So by the time I've gathered it in a little bit, that's more than enough for the 1 tier. So then the next tier down will have to be a bit shorter. So what I will, longer. So then what I will do is I will put the 2 pieces of fabric together, find out how much more width I want, maybe another third on top of what I already have on the skirt, and then make that again a little bit wider. So we've got a gradual increase of size. We don't want it to be huge, but we do want it to have some sort of movement to it. So I'm doing the same thing again, and I will fast forward you. Okay, so as you can see, I have 3 strips. It does look like I haven't got 3 strips the right length. There we go, sorry. As you can see, I have 3 strips the same length and width. And I will then use those to make the skirt. So we're going to put those to one side. We'll put them on top of our top pieces and put them to one side. So then all I will need to do is to cut out the arms and the neck pattern. or neck piece. Now the arms, I have the pattern piece, which is nice and easy, and I will probably try and do that as far over this way as I can, because I can do them right on this edge now. But I'll just refold that. There we go. So yeah, I'll just do those on that edge there, so that I've got enough room to then put a neckband on the fold later on. And I will, oh dear, I will move the fabric around until it plays nicely. Yeah, so there we go. So I'll put those pieces on here. This is not playable. And I will cut out the arm pieces. There we go, that's better. So yeah, I'll just cut out the arm pieces, so I will fast forward you. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not using the pattern piece for the neckband because I'm not entirely sure how long the neckband's going to be. And what I will do is I will measure the neckband, and then I will put on a band that is 85% of the length of the hole. And that should give me the sufficient tightness that I need. So all I'm going to do is cut a 2-inch wide strip that should quite easily be long enough to do the neck. So this strip is, I actually cannot see, hang on, starts at that end, that's right. This strip is nearly 13 inches, and from memory, the last time I did myself a neckband for a Tabitha T-shirt, I think it was about 21 inches, so 11-inch folded over will be more than enough. Sorry, 13 inches folded over will be more than enough. So there we go. So then I've got a neckband piece that I can trim down when I am ready to do it. So that is it. So it's all cut out. There's my waist. Let's put that in there. And then I've got some fabric left over to possibly make myself some very nice pants, maybe. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we have all of our pattern pieces ready to go, and this is where we follow the normal pattern, really. We sew up the front shoulder seams, and I do the front shoulder seam, the front back shoulder seam, sorry, and then I do the side seams as well. And then I close the arm up and I put the arm in that way. Some people prefer to put the arm in flat. It doesn't bother me either way, so I will do it the way that I know. So I will move you around as I'm doing it, and put you on fast forward so you can see me sewing up the shoulder seams and the side seams. Okay, so we've got the neckband, we have the sleeves, we have the skirt. Okay, and these are the two front and back pieces for the t-shirt top. So I unpin everything. Now, I'll be honest, I know you're supposed to look at what they're called, notch marks, everything else, and depending on what the item is, I may well put notch marks in, but for a t-shirt like this, I won't, because I can tell which is the front, which is the back. The shoulder seams and everything else, it's not like you're easing anything in, it's going to be straightforward and just pinning together, so I will just do that. When it comes to the armholes and the arms, what I do is I actually fold the arm on itself, and the side that is slightly bigger is the back piece. You have more ease in the back of your arm than the front of your arm. And then I will quarter the fabric, because although they add in the extra in the fabric rather than adding it extra into the movement of the hole, so everything is evenly spaced, or at least it seems to work out that well for me doing it that way, so I just do it that way. Okay, so we've unpinned the pieces, And then I've got my back piece here. And I've got my front piece to put on top of it. So move it out of the way. Okay. And I don't put in loads of pins. All I'm going to do is put in one pin there. And another pin. Oh dear. Just so that it's not rolled up on itself. Again, apologies for the dogs there scratching at the gate in the kitchen because they think it's their time for their dinner, but actually it's only not even 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they're a little bit early as usual. Right, so another one that I'm going to pin there. I will put you on fast forward while I pin the rest of the seams. Okay, as you can see, I have got the front and backs pinned together at the top and bottom of each seam. So I will take you over now to my overlocker and show you as I sew them. Now, the reason I only pin the top and the bottom is obviously you can't let the pin go through the overlocker, and so I manually adjust where the fabric is and make sure that it goes through together and straight. So I will hold that and push it through, well, not push it through, let it go through the machine, shall we say, together that way, and then I will stop and readjust if I need to and do the same thing again as I go down. Okay, so I will move you over to the overlocker. Okay, so I am now at my overlocker. Luckily I already have black thread on my machine, so that would be perfectly fine for navy. Yes, I could be fussy and change it, but no one's going to tell. I'm sorry. I've got too much more fun things to do in my life than changing my overlocker thread. And yeah, so I won't necessarily keep that. I won't change that unless I really need to, if it's going to show. Let me just get my pins. So, taking the top pin out. The seam allowance on this is 5/8, I believe. So that's what I normally sew out. So, and it seems okay. So I'm fairly safe to go there. So I've got my line obviously on here that I can follow, and so I just line everything up and go for it. So I will put you on fast forward. Okay, so I have overlocked all my edges. I chain stitch all my pieces that I can chain stitch together to save time, and all I'll do then is trim off the bits at the end. Obviously they will all be sewn into seams, so you don't need to worry about keeping some edge remaining so that you can push it back in. It's fine. And then I'll just get that bit there. Right, so that is my overlock seams off. That is my waste fabric. Okay, so we now have a piece with the fronts and backs sewn together. So I'm now going to proceed to put the arms in before I get on to the skirt. Right, apologies. It looks like I didn't record it, although I remember talking to you, so I do apologise for you missing it. But I have just pinned in the sleeves into the sleeve hole. And what I do is I match up the back part first, then I make sure that the side seams are matched up, and then I work my way around. So I make sure I've got the right arm in the right sleeve, basically, or the right sleeve in the right arm, get the right way around, Jen, and then I pin it around so that I can then sew it on the machine. So there we go, so it's all pinned in. I'm just going to sew around these, and then I'm going to pause the video while I go and collect my son from school. So I'll just quickly film this and then I'll be back. Okay, so now we have got a top of some of the top of a Tabitha T-shirt by Tilly and the Buttons, and I will be back in a minute to, well, just a minute for you, for about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour hopefully for me, to add on the skirts and finish off the piece. I'll be back soon. Hello, I am back. So the child and his friend are upstairs. They know I'm filming, but I'm not sure they're going to be that quiet because two kids together generally aren't quiet, are they? But anyway, so yeah, so they're good together anyway though. I have got my top sewn up and I now need two. So we've got sleeves and we have the top, okay? So I now need to attach the skirt. Now the way I do my, what's the word I'm looking for? Gathering, is to get a piece of elastic that is the same distance around the bottom of my skirt. I'm going to angle you down. Hang on a second. Let's angle you down. So oh, hello. That's a bit wobbly, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so I will get a piece of elastic that goes around this bottom hem of the skirt, and I will attach that to the top hem of my first skirt piece. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to sew this piece together. So to get the two side seams right sides together and then just sew them together. And then once I've done that, I will put elastic on the top that is the same distance around the skirt and evenly spread it around, pinning it. And once that's done, I will attach that to the skirt piece, and then I will attach both of them to the top piece. Now the reason I do it like that is because I hate gathering. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but I hate gathering, and it is the easiest way I've found to do it. So I will cut off most of the elastic, if not all of the elastic, when I add it onto the top, but I then don't have to sit there and hand sew in and out. Again, there's more than enough things in the world for me to be doing rather than hand sewing gathering stitches. So I will take you to the overlocker again while I attach the elastic and close up this side seam. The first thing I do need to do though is get some elastic out and make sure that I have the width distance around this top. So I'm going to trust the elastic box out. Repurpose Sew Harry Jane boxes. And then this is one reason why I do go through quite a lot of elastic. And I know people might think it's quite wasteful, but then I look at it that time is precious, and I mean I could leave it in there and it would probably give it some sort of stability to it, but I don't think it's necessary. And also it's not necessary to cut and leave a little bit extra because obviously it is elastic, it will give a little bit, and so when you do sew it together it will work itself out. I mean I only overlap it about 1 centimetre. Hopefully you can see that there. Can you see? Yeah, I only overlap it about 1 centimetre, so yeah, I'll just attach those together with a pin, if I can find my pins. There they are. And then I will pin that to the skirt top. So we're going to put the top piece to one side for a minute. Oh, I'm making a hash of that. To put the top piece to one side for a minute, and then we're going to attach this to the skirt. So we do the same quartering thing that we did before. Oh, hang on, let me just sew the side seam. Okay, so I'm just going to sew the side seams, the two seams together. Okay, so as you can see, I have sewn one side seam together. The other side is obviously the fold, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my elastic and I'm going to pin it around one edge, sorry, of the fabric. So going to pin that there on that side seam. Now, so we've got to make sure it's all going in the same direction, and then hopefully we can get this all going like that and find the centre bit of both pieces and match them up. So hopefully you saw me doing that. Okay. So then I put the two bits together that I've just pinned, because we know that they're in the middle. And then again, we find the next middle bit there and the next middle bit of the fabric. So, oh, sorry, it's a bit rolly, this fabric, but it is lovely. So then again, we find the middle bit. You can see I'm stretching till I find that point. And then we just pin it there. And then do the same again until you've got enough pins in there that you feel comfortable to sew it. So I normally put in about 8 pins, I think it is, around the things. And then what you'll do is you'll stretch it when you're putting it through the machine. You'll stretch the elastic, not the fabric, and that will draw in the top edge of the fabric to give you that really nice gathering effect. So I'm going to continue pinning around here, and I'm going to put you on fast forward again. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a loosely pinned elastic around the top of our skirt piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to attach this elastic to the top hem of the skirt piece, and that will give us a really nice gathered effect. So I will take you over to the overlocker and we will do that now. Okay, so the first piece that I put into my machine is always the piece where the pin is joining, so that I can get that sewn up and I don't have to worry about it as I'm going around. So I'll just turn that way because it's the wrong way around for the machine. And then I'm going to put the elastic just above where it should be, where it is, sorry. I was going to put that into the overlocker. So look, you can see where I'm pulling it taut, so the fabric is not stretched particularly, but I've got the elastic stretch, so that's where the elastic needs to go. And I will put that into the machine at that point. It's a bit faffy, I'll be honest, but once it's in there and it's not moving. Now, obviously, I don't really want to catch the elastic in the knife at the moment, so I keep it to the left of it. Now you can, actually I can do it myself quite easily here, so I'm going to do it. So I move the knife out of the way, and then I know I'm not going to cut it. And then I can put it straight under the foot, and I know that it's pulled. Right, so away we go. There's my pin thingy. Sorry. Right, so we've got the elastic in the point where we need it. I'm going to manually wind it until I get to the bit where the pin is holding the two pieces together. Okay, so I know then that while I'm putting the pin through the machine, it's not going to be a disaster if I keep going. Right, I think I've reached it now. I can feel a definite difference. Right, so we've got that one there. We actually have two pins around about the same place, so we need to take that one there. Okay, I'm going to sew forward a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that taut, okay, up until the point where the elastic is stretched, the fabric is not particularly stretched, and I'm just going to hold on to that in the middle because we know that's the bit you want to do it. And then I'm going to go. Okay, I'm just going to keep pulling it through the machine, making sure that it's all caught in the overlap. Okay, so hopefully you can see that we now have a very lightly gathered hem or seam at the top. So where are we? Can I show you this nicely? Yeah, so you can see that light gathering. It doesn't have to be too heavy, it doesn't have to be too tight. It's just a very light gathering, but it will be even throughout and it will look much nicer than me pulling on a piece of string, because quite frankly I can't be bothered. So we now need to pin this to our top piece. So obviously we turn it inside out and I put this on the outside, lining up the side seam with one of the other side seams, and I attach that to the skirt and make it nearly a dress. So I'm going to move you back over to the other side. Okay, so I am back here. I have my skirt, and as you can see, I have my top piece, and they are similar. I wouldn't say they're perfect actually. They don't seem to be quite so tight, but anyway, I'm sure I'll work it out eventually. So if I've got the skirt inside out, as I say, if I pull the top through the middle of it, and then I match up the side seam. No, that's the sleeve, Jen. So match up the side seam with this side seam here, and then again I quarter it. I put pins in, probably in about 8 different places, and I then will sew it up. So I've got one side seam there attached, and then the next one is there. So as you can see, that's just about the right length. It's perfect, so that's good. So then I put in another pin there, so it's in half, and then I do the same thing I did again. So I will put the 2 side seams together, and I will find the quarter point of the front of the top, sorry, and the quarter point of the skirt, and I will attach them together. Okay, and it's just literally a case of doing that. So it's really simple. Same thing again, I will quarter the back or the other next part of it, put them together and place a pin in. And then once I've done the quarters, I'll do the 8ths. So I will, so as you can see, I've got those 2 bits together, pull it a bit taut, and then that is it. So what I will do, I've left a good inch on my top piece for seam allowance for the skirt. So I will actually cut off the elastic for this skirt, because I don't want the elastic there. The elastic will make it won't sit as nicely. So once I've pinned this, it will all be in like a nice sort of thing, and then I'll just work my way around, going around with the gathers. I'll have the skirt piece on top of the machine, and then I will in fact, saying that, put my pins on the other way. I'll have the skirt piece on the top of the machine, so that I can then make sure that the skirt is hanging out straight from the top. And once I've done that, I'll just work my way around, cutting off the elastic, and I will have the top attached to the first tier of the skirt. So it's got to put this into an 8th as well. So I'm going to fast forward while I finish this off and move over to the machine. Okay, so I'm back at my machine. I've got it all pinned And now I'm going to put this through the machine. As say, the skirt bit's on the top, as you can see the elastic there, and the top bit is on the bottom of the machine. And that way I can see that I'm going to cut off the elastic as I put it around. So I'm going to put you on fast forward while I do that. Okay, now this is the third time I've tried to film this. My camera's being a bit silly. So I have attached the skirt to the top. So hopefully you can see there, you've got one layer of the top attached to this, one layer of the skirt attached to the top, sorry. And now I need to do the same thing again for another layer. So if I tilt you down, and hopefully you can see what I have. Okay, so now as you can see, I've got the skirt width across. I'm going to sew these two pieces together. So one there, if I just show you there, sorry. One there attached to another there, and then we're going to see the difference that I have and how much fabric I've got. And I should be able then to work out how much I need for the extra layer, the extra tier. I only want about another, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches, I suppose, either side of the skirt. So it gives me a little bit of soft gathering, but it doesn't make it too much gathering. So there we go. I'm just going to sew these together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just sew one of the side seams together. So right, okay, so once I've sewn one side seam together, I can then take this back to the top and measure it against it, so that I only have to do one little piece of sewing rather than 2 pieces of sewing. So I will take you back over there now. Okay, so we've got our top here, our skirt, top with our skirt, sorry. And the skirt then is laid out. Let's see if I can show you one side, so show you that side. Okay, so it's laid out so that I can, hang on, let's see if I can get a wider angle to it. There we go. Okay, so you can see the skirt is the bottom of the skirt is there. This is one piece of the sorry, this is the top. It's not the top, is it? This is the 2 parts of the bottom tier. Okay, so I'm now going to lay that next to the top. Okay, so I've now sewn on the the second tier, sorry. So now we have, obviously, as you can see, we've got 1 tier, 2 tiers, if you can see that, so tier, bottom. Okay, so I am going to finish this off, and then I will take a photo and upload it on my Friday sews this week. So I hope that has been helpful. I will put this photo up, as I say, on Friday sews. I will show you the finished product. My plan, if I can do it, is to finish this today, finish this now, and then finish my cardigan. I'm halfway through the second sleeve and I need to then do the collar band, and ideally I will wear it all tomorrow. Whether it works, whether it actually happens, I don't know, but I will let you know, and hopefully then I will be able to show you a picture of me wearing it on Friday. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have liked what you've seen, please do hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me and it helps other people get to see my videos. And I will be back soon with Friday sews. Thank you. Bye.